Kentucky, this is Mary Jo Perino. Tonight, racial protests renew the debate over a Confederate statue in Frankfort. Rex Chapman opens up about race, and I'll talk with the Fayette County Clerk about a most challenging primary season. All that and more is next on Hey Kentucky. Welcome to Hey Kentucky, along with LEX 18 Sports Director Keith Farmer. And Keith, today, Friday, we heard Coach Cal talking about what changes they can make in college basketball. We saw Mark Stoops and the team wearing Black Lives Matter shirts, marching through downtown. UK Athletics has certainly taken a big position during these last few weeks.
Yeah, and I think it's an important thing for them to do,
Yes.
to get out in front of this and to show their teams that they want to be part of, making this go away,
Yes.
this problem.
Absolutely. Now, in the midst of all the protests, Governor Beshear says he wants the statue of Jefferson Davis removed from the Capitol Rotunda, something that advocates have been pushing for years. Beshear says people are reminded of pain and oppression as soon as they walk into the Capitol and see the statue of the President of the Confederacy. The statues of Davis and Abraham Lincoln have shared the space for decades. In 2018, following demands for local officials across the country to remove Confederate monuments, the plaque that called Davis a hero was taken down, but the statue remained.
I just want to make the statement that I believe that Jefferson Davis statue is a symbol that divides us. Even if there are those that think it's a part of history, there should be a better place to put it in historic context.
Also today, UK President Dr. Eli Capilouto has announced that a mural in Memorial Hall will be removed. The mural includes images of enslaved African Americans as well as Native Americans. And Keith, I don't know why it's taken so long, because people have been asking or demanding that those come down for years, but I'm glad to see there's talk of doing it now.
You know, especially at the University of Kentucky, we know for sure that we've had, people fighting against that mural, and then it might even be covered up, but then it's uncovered, and then somebody else, probably a new class comes in, and somebody sees it, and why is this up? And they fight about it, and then they don't take it down. I think now is the perfect time for the University of Kentucky to be taking this down. And as far as the Confederates stuff, I've never understood why that's up. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't either, at all, especially in the state capitol. So there is a historical context. Put it in a museum or something like that. All right. Northern Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie is weighing in on the protests in Louisville and around the country. The 4th District Republican went on morning radio yesterday saying that many protesters are, quote, just violent looters and lawless criminals at this point who cannot articulate their goals.
Most of them are young, and I just wonder who were their parents, what did they teach them, and how did they get educated to believe that this is an appropriate response? Contrast it to, what Martin Luther King Jr. did. Is there an articulate person among the group who are upset with the way things are going that can step up to a microphone and speak for all the people?
Yeah.
I'm not seeing that person.
Then I would say, Mr. Massie, you're probably not looking. Massie also said we need to distinguish between peaceful protests and rioting and looting. And he cites what he calls a double standard between the media's coverage of those who protested the COVID-19 lockdown and the current protests of racial injustice. And Keith, the coverage is different because those are vastly different protests.
If he was in a league, a baseball, a football league, he would be fined and or suspended for some of those comments. I just don't get it. Last night I stumbled onto a Conan O'Brien show. He had Sam Richardson, who's an actor, on, and he said, you know what, I'll tell you, it's like this. And he said it's kind of funny, but he used the Avengers, and he's like, Iron Man told the Hulk in the middle of a fight, all right, buddy, it's time to get angry. It's time to get going. And he said, I'm always angry. That's how the black community has felt for so long. They've always been angry. You just haven't seen it until something like George Floyd comes along, and now you're seeing the anger come out for good reason.
Much different than holding up a sign that says, we want haircuts. Yeah, so there's that. Protests are set to continue in Lexington and elsewhere throughout the weekend. One of the other areas is the small eastern Kentucky town of Corbin. The local newspaper caught video of a Black Lives Matter protest in a community with a complicated racial history that's still 97% white, 0.25% black. Keith, this is one of those things that makes me think maybe this time it will be a little bit different, because Corbin is not the city where you would expect this to happen, but I'm so proud that they are.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, there's been some long history going way, way back. I mean, it's what, 97% white? I mean, this is a great sight, and like you said, gives you hope to believe that things are changing, or at least we're talking about it, and especially in a place like that.
Yes, absolutely. All right, the Louisville woman whose death helped spark the nationwide protest was honored today on what would have been her 27th birthday. EMT Brianna Taylor died in a shooting at her apartment as police conducted a raid in another person's drug case. The social media hashtag Birthday for Brianna pushes people to sign a petition calling for justice in her case and to send birthday cards to Brianna, to Attorney General Daniel Cameron. Also, advocates paid for this centerfold in the Courier-Journal newspaper today, declaring that Brianna was essential. The paid advertisement demands accountability for her death. Meanwhile, the attorney for Taylor's family says the celebrity couple of Kanye West and Kim Kardashian have offered to pay the family's legal fees and litigation costs. And her neighbors are now suing the LMPD, saying officers fired blindly during the deadly raid. Keith, you know, Kanye and Kim have honestly, they've offered to pay for a lot of things. But what do you make of all the celebrations of her life? I think it's great.
I think it's a beautiful thing, and just the fact that, I mean, it could have been overshadowed because of what happened with George Floyd, because we had video there. Everybody could see what happened there. We haven't really seen what happened with Breonna Taylor. And so I think it's a beautiful thing that we're hearing her name come out of the mouths of celebrities, and that they're wanting to help out as well.
Absolutely. Keep her name in front of your mind. All right.